Hello, Strongbear, and hello, everyone watching us on all of the various platforms. I'm Dr. Richard Boulanger, a professor of electronic production and design at the Berklee College of Music, and I'm here with my protege, former student, and brilliant collaborator and co-developer of CsoundMeta, Strongbear. Hi, Strongbear.
Hello, everyone. Hello, Dr.B. Yeah, I'm very happy today. Like we do the live stream again, the second time of the week, and the fifth time total that of the live streams that we've been done, and we're seeing like growth on our community, the Discord channel. Everyone over there like start installing CsoundMeta on their Quest. I'm so happy about that.
Me too. And we want to remind all of you to join the CsoundMeta Discord. Strongbear will post the link again here at the beginning of the screencast and even throw it in the chat for those of you who are joining us over Zoom. The purpose of these live streams is to tell you a little about Csound, a little about CsoundMeta, to actually show you us composing and performing with this incredibly powerful tool, empowered in an especially new way with Strongbear's code and bringing Csound into the metaverse via Rory Walsh's Csound Unity API, the inspiration of Giovanni Bediti's advancements to the API, and then Strongbear really running with the ball and putting it into this world that lets us take classic Csound instruments. Csound's a foundational computer music language, a giant software synthesizer and signal processing language from the 70s, from the 80s, from the 90s. It's 40, 50 years in the making. People are still continue to develop it. There's a team of developers led by Victor Lazzarini and John Fitch that are enhancing Csound. It has 2,000 or more opcodes or modules, and it's all open source, and it runs on every platform. But what we're doing now is having just an immense fun and really changing how you can play with sound and play with Csound in Strongbear and my CsoundMeta. So we're excited to share with you and bring you here, and hope you'll join the Discord channel. Those of you who are trying to install, we want to use some of this time today to help you and help you get it working. Last week, we were very successful getting 4 or 5 of my students and colleagues, former students from around the world, to install and then jam with us at Friday's session. This week on Monday, there was jamming from a couple of the new users. And so every time we jam with people, we learn more about what we should add to the program and fix. And in fact, I think Strongbear has an important announcement right now about, what's been happening since Monday's jam session.
Yeah, so thankfully we have people joining us, like playing with that, so that we could test the program better, understand like the user experience. So when we have like so basically I just updated the app to 9.7.8. So I hope that on your Quest you will receive a notification how to update the app to the latest version, and it fixes several of things. So first of all is like in the previous session we were experiencing like the orb scatter, and we making it so big to hear it clearly. Then when we have a lot of them, they collide to each other and kind of up like a reaction chain and make them scatter around and scatter into like what we call a frenzy mode. Oh yeah.
We have to give it a positive spin, but literally all of the orbs start flying all over the place. You can't catch them. It's like, oh no. And in fact, a couple of my students have shared the app that we've collaborated with over the last year, have been sharing the app with their parents and grandparents. And one did report to us, Bethany, that when her mom was put it on the first time, all the balls started flying all over, and it really kind of frightened her very much. So we're addressing a little bit of that issue. Of course, when Strongbear and I play and jam, well, we have a lot of experience with the controls and the controllers. And so if things are flying, we know how to catch them, we know how to grab them, we know how to slow them down, we know how to move them so they don't bump into each other too much. And so, but even yesterday, I taught a class at Berklee, and I put the headsets on my students in the classroom, and things got pretty crazy pretty fast. So we are trying to make it that the most students we've ever jammed with, right, Strongbear? What did we do last year? How many students we jammed? We had all these high school kids in with us. How many were there?
Wow. I don't remember exactly. We did like a lot of them, like I don't know, like about 10 like events,
11 or maybe more, all simultaneously playing in a small classroom. Well, we're actually playing on the moon, because when you go into CsoundMeta, you can place yourself in any number of worlds. And in fact, these worlds are so beautiful and creative, and just gorgeous, 3D skies and ground and everything. And they're all designed by this fantastic AI skybox generating program from Blockade Labs. And so you pick a style, you pick a starting scene, you say, I want it to be photorealistic, but I want to be up on the mountaintop or in a canyon or underwater and on a reef. And you are. And in 5 minutes or maybe even less, it's designed all these beautiful 3D worlds for you, which you can then modify. It's phenomenal. We'll show you a session where we're building some new worlds with that too. But the point is, you're in that world. We're all on the moon playing with our orbs and playing with Csound and sounds and making sound. And all of a sudden, things get pretty crazy. When we had the young students in, what was also very interesting, and it's a funny story, that I'd love to share with you. So I'm so excited because, these kids are screaming like, ah, ah. And I'm so excited because, wow, they love it. They love this work, Strongbear. Listen to them. And I'm looking over, Strongbear, wow, wow. And then I realized that most of them are afraid of heights. And so when you're in these virtual worlds and you're on a mountaintop and you look down and you're above the city in a skyscraper or something, so they were not screaming because they loved it. They were screaming because they were frightened out of their wits, because these beautiful worlds created by Blockade Labs are very realistic. And so when you jump into CsoundMeta, you really are there. And there might be the top of a skyscraper. So you have to pick your worlds wisely. And so, in fact, even the first time, I think I told Strongbear, I showed it to my wife, Colette, and I put it on, and she also was screaming, and I had to hold her from behind. Honey, I'm right here. You're not going anywhere. I know it looks like you're on a mountaintop, but I want you to try it. And so ultimately, Bear and I designed some city streets and colonial marketplaces so that we could just be on the ground for beginners sometimes too. And you'll see some of those today when we improvise. But it is really amazing. And I can only tell you this, you really do want to install the software. Today, we'll screencast when we're jamming or when we're trying to teach you and when we're playing. But what a difference when you have the headset on. What a difference when you're in this world. And even yesterday, as I handed around, I had about 6 headsets with me, 6 Quest XR, headsets, 3s and 3s and 3Ss and Pros, and I was handing them out and having the students put them on. And even when you do all that, it was really amazing how excited they all were to join and finally be in the world. And I mean, the first response, even though I'm doing a demo before and showing it all on a big screens in our labs, we have these beautiful large TV screens at Berklee in the lab I teach in. But as soon as they put it on, it was like, it's game changer. It's like, wow. And all of them are starting to think, this is how we're going to play music in the future. This is how we're going to do this. This is how we're going to. And in fact, I'll let Strongbear talk about this, but for a moment. But that's where Strongbear's motivation has come from, to kind of work with me and really develop this. It really had to do a lot with Strongbear imagining new ways of playing music, making music, collaborating. Strongbear, by the way, is a virtuoso jazz guitarist, incredible musician, multi-instrumentalist, who happens to also be a programming genius. So many of us have more than one talent, but I really appreciate Strongbear's talents. And so, Strongbear, tell us a little bit of your kind of motivation for making the app. And we're going to say hello to my student Emery, who's joined us on Zoom. Hi, Emery.
Yeah. Hello, Emery.
Hi.
Welcome back. Yeah. So, so you mentioned about Blockade Lab. I just want to shout out to them because they have wrote like a post about CsoundMeta. So to help us like spread the word. So
Thank you.
yes. So back to my motivation to create this app. So my background is was electrical engineering, then computer science. Then I did have a business, and I run a company named Designveloper. We're doing software for since 2013, so it's 12 years already. I didn't know that I would end up in at Berklee, but like who knows, like life pushes you around, and sometimes like you didn't realize like what you love until like later on in life. So I want to pursue my music passion. So that's why I went to Berklee, and then at Berklee I started out as guitar performance major. Then during the COVID time, like before the COVID time, I bought a bunch of instruments, because at Berklee they taught me not only like how to play the guitar, but also other instruments as well, and how to like compose, how to arrange. So I bought like a drum kit, I bought a keyboard, bought a bass, so everything to make a band. But then after 3 months, I gotta sell like everything. They're all brand new, right? So
So what you're saying, I want to interrupt just to make clear that you're in the major, you're flying at Berklee, you're supporting your growth and development, and COVID hits, and pretty much Berklee goes remote.
right. Yeah.
So it's like all of a sudden, oh man, my jam sessions, who knows what's going to happen, right? So take it from there. So
Right.
then you sold it, you had to sell everything pretty much, just it didn't make sense to keep it all.
Yeah, to go back to Vietnam. So and I kept only my Strongbear guitar, the headless guitar, as it's pretty lightweight. It's only like half as heavy as the like other guitar. So I was thinking about like, is there any like a solution where I have like very compact system that I can carry around, like flying to anywhere I want, like maybe go to the beach, go to a mountain, but I can still make music and I can still play, can still jam with people. Then when I came back to Vietnam, and my friend introduced me the Quest 2, and I put it on, and I play the first game with like Beat Saber, and I feel like, wow, this is amazing. This is like a future. We could do something with this one. So then I came up with the idea to make a system like where we could compose, could play music and perform in VR. Then after that, and I came back to Berklee, joined EPD, Electronic Production and Design Department, switched my major to EPD and also songwriting. So at the final semester, basically EPD sent out a list of a professor of that could guide us through the final projects, what we call EP. Is that 491 EP 491? Yeah.
The capstone project or thesis project. Yep.
Right. And so then I looked at the list of professor, and then Dr. B really like. I looked at Dr. B background history and what he has done. So I think that he could be like the really great advisor for me to finish this project. So, but I hadn't taken any course of Dr. B, but I emailed Dr. B. Then like I don't know, like that's just luckily I met Dr. B at the garage on top of the Whole Food building, like next to Berklee, because I used to park my car there, and it was like I think it's 10 p.m. Dr. B, Dr. B was there too.
No one up there. We were on the 6th floor. I'm going to my car, and this stranger walks up to me who I've never seen and says, "Are you Dr. B?"
Yeah.
I said, "Maybe."
Yeah. So we met each other in the elevator, and then in just a short like 1 or 2 minutes, like I got introduced to Dr. B, and I told Dr. B that I sent you a message, an email, like about our project, and I was willing to work with you. And then after that I got reply back to Dr. B, and then okay.
And we got started.
Yeah, we had started.
Amazing. Yeah. And already, as a side note, Strongbear's other project related to this, tangential to CsoundMeta, is essentially all of Ableton Live running in the in VR and allowing for live jamming so that you could play with people. So Strongbear has already built a kind of big system that has great commercial potential. I maybe pulled them off track a little bit by saying, there's this world of Csound. It's all in the public domain. It's all open source. There's an international community. The whole history of computer music is in Csound. It's all open source. I think that appealed to Strongbear. And let me show you a few sounds. Let me show you a few instruments. And Strongbear brought them back. Like a week later, well, here, I put that instrument inside VR. Try this. And already I was like, oh, wow. Well, what about this? And what about that? And every week, Strongbear would continue to kind of develop further and further the possibilities of this experience, of this kind of pulling together of foundational computer music technology with the latest in kind of community-based collaborative performance system. And what we built here and what we're going to share with you even now to warm you up a little bit is, it's remarkable because I'm at Boulanger Labs, my home studio here outside of Boston, and Strongbear is in his studio in Lakewood, Ohio. And we even have a student joining us from their apartment in Boston. Emery's in Boston, literally. And, the three of us now will be able to join in a common space, which is one of these worlds, or even go into pass-through mode where we're all just looking around our own studio, but we're seeing the controllers and even the little ghost outline of each of us, and we're able to play together, talk to each other, hand each other objects. And that's what we're going to try to do today if we can keep Emery from going and starting to play extended drum solos. And Emery, we're going to have you in the instructional part of our jam today, if that sounds cool to you.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Good. And so I always like to start our sessions, and we'll certainly answer any questions and take even guidance from you and the community who are watching. I'm going to screencast from my screen in stereo. Sounds are all spatialized in Csound Unity and CsoundMeta. And so you'll get a nice stereo feed. I think the sound is better when you're watching the screencast and even the visuals rather than watching my Zoom or joining on Zoom. So if you're really wanting to get a little bit cooler experience of what we're going to be doing now for the next 10 or 15 minutes, you probably want to join one of the screencast links. And I think Bear is also going to project at the same time what he is looking at while he's playing. So you're going to kind of have two perspectives of the worlds that we're exploring sonically and visually as we jam a little with something that's a movement I've already saved, a sketch that I'm working on. But then I'm going to stop us in the middle and throw all those objects away, put up a new world, and we're going to just start maybe rehearsing and thinking about what sounds and what sound objects would be a nice set of companions that we would then save as a movement or save as the basis for a composition we might make later on. Does that sound like a good idea, Strongbear?
Yeah, absolutely. So first thing, we need to update the app to the latest version, so everybody will be on the same same page, and the multiplayer could work well.
You think it's ready for the update? You think Meta has delivered it? I have a different quest here before we start sharing.
Yeah.
This is Csound Her. So why don't I put this on and look inside and see if the app has been updated?
Right.
Mine updated automatically as I started the app. It just like said there was an up. It was 1 megabyte, which was interesting, but it prompted me like without the option not to. It just started updating.
Wow, that's amazing.
I'm just putting on Csound Her. Excellent, Emery. Let's see if mine does the same. Well, no, it connected. I don't know if it updated. I'm going to say quit.
Yeah. Do you want to share your screen so that
I will in a second. I thought I'd try. This does not say there's an update, but I'm just trying it on Csound Her first in case I don't want to break the version that we were using successfully. So mine isn't telling me what Emery is saying. It's not sort of telling me there's an update or anything. You don't think I should uninstall first and try to reinstall?
Probably in the app library where you have like the three dots something, and you go to settings to turn on the like share spatial apps and data or something. It should it should have like option to update, I think.
Well, I just did say to uninstall, and now it is downloading and installing, it says. So maybe, and I'll see in a minute if this installs with the new number. If it does, then I'll put on the one that I screencast, and I will cast for everyone the process from Csound Dr.B headset, okay? I just want to test and not break what we are doing in case the update does break that. I hope you don't mind me. It's not that I have little faith in you, Strongbear. I'm just being a little cautious given that we're live.
Yep.
But let's see.
Well, I already have 9.7.8 in here.
You do? Oh. The app is finishing in a few minutes. Let's see.
Let's double check. Well,
mine says installing, and now I say open. So let's see what it tells me. Csound made with Unity 978. Allow the microphone. So this did put the new one on. Okay, good. So I'm going to stop that. I'm going to put it away. And you were saying you wanted me to just do this for everyone by sharing my screen, or are you doing it right now?
Yeah, I'm sharing my screen, but you can share your screen, and then like we usually do, put two screens side by side.
Okay. So let's get Emery and you to stop making sound, or maybe. And so Emery, stop playing the instruments or quit the app for a second. Okay, I'm now sharing sound, and I'm about to share my screen and share just the casting screen. Boom. So now I'm sharing my casting, and I'm in a version of CsoundMeta. And Emery, if you're still in here, you should close some of those dialog boxes of objects that
You
you're
know what's really
working.
funny? This might be a good, but as I hit close or back, it's not closing them.
Oh, I was
You want
able
to
to
try?
just close two of yours.
You were able to?
Ah, I just closed two of them. I'm bringing one to me right now. I'm closing it. I'm
That's just
bringing the
so
other
weird that it.
one. Well,
I guess.
quit and restart.
Yeah, I appreciate y'all, but it's interesting. This is an issue I was having yesterday too. I forgot to
Yeah,
mention it. So, I mean, maybe I'm not hitting the right button, but
you're
that was.
probably not hitting the right button to
I mean, it's
close.
like it's the back triggers, right? Like it's the.
It's the main trigger, the
Yeah,
main pointer. Yeah.
it's
Okay.
just.
I think I'm sharing with everyone. I'm going to quit the app. So with my right meta button, the indented button on my controller, I bring up the menus and I say quit. Now you'll pass through mode. You're looking at my workspace here, my desk. And as I turn, you'll see the rest of my studio. Welcome. And so back to my writing desk, if you will, or teaching location. And so you're telling me, first of all, I'm looking in my messages. It might say that something was um, new was added. I'm going to go to my app library. I'm going to see if this tells me there's a new version. It does not.
Did you open the app and see, does it say like 978 or 977?
I'm going to open it right now. Your app is updating, initializing.
That's what I got.
That's what Emery reported seeing. Fantastic, Emery. There, and it looks like it's in agreement. It's installing the app right now. I think many of you are seeing what I'm looking at on my screen in pass-through mode. It's still installing. Your app will continue updating if you close this view. Well, I'll close the view like it said, and I'm looking now and it's telling me in my library here on Meta, right? My Meta library. It's telling me it's installing, and now it says it's there. I'm opening it. My headset is now telling me it's made with Unity. It shows me our green screen. It shows me the version number down here at the bottom, 978. I don't know if you're seeing that. I hope you are.
Yeah.
And I now select host, server, and client. For all of you who might be at home installing your own version, normally you're the host. If you're playing with others, like I will be, then quite possibly we'll show you how we're doing that in a minute, because we're using another VPN that helps everyone join my app. But tell me, Bear, do you join, when you join me, you join as a client, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Good. So right now I'm going to point and click on host so I can host everyone. And here I am. And now you're seeing me in one of these beautiful Blockade Lab worlds. And I'm, in the heavens here. There's a castle.
So
and you're also seeing someone with green controls in front of me, and that's Strongbear waving them at me. And you're maybe seeing Emery right over here with orange controls, or they're kind of lime green over here. That's Emery waving. So there are two other players in my castle. You're kind of light green or blue, maybe, way over here. And Emery is to my right, Strongbear is to my left. I'm in the middle. I'm looking at
I think I'm on your right. So
okay.
So green is like Emery.
When I say your name, you'll wave your hands. Okay. So Strongbear.
Over here to the right.
On my right, I see you. And on my left, Emery. That's Emery over there. You're right. So
I see someone down here. Oh, it's gone.
Yep.
Okay. One of your headset.
Now, what you're noticing, everyone who's about to watch us jam, is that I'm kind of teaching you a little bit how to play too. So you see that each of my sticks in each of my hands look a little bit like a timpani mallet, right? and the head can be made larger or smaller. I'm adjusting that with screen controls. And generally, I like to leave one mallet head a little large. They could be both the same size. But I like to have my left one a little larger because, as you'll see when I'm playing the orbs, as I move my hand through, I'm actually controlling parameters of the sound. And if you have a bigger mallet, the sound changing that I'm doing is more dramatic. And so typically the way I play the objects in the metaverse, and I'm going to bring one up right now, and I'm going to do that by pushing the X and Y key on my left controller. And I've just brought up this thing called teal. Now, when it came on, it was gray, and you didn't hear anything. And you're wondering, oh, my MetaQuest isn't working. I don't hear any sound. And you're even trying to hit it with your lasers, and there's no sound because the laser is a pointer that points at the object like I'm doing now. I can actually use the grip on my left hand and the joystick and pull the object over here to the mallet, right? Or I could have even used a shortcut on the left hand, which is just point and hit the grip, and it pulls it right towards me from a mile away. From up on the roof of the castle, I could pull a sound to me. So, but I still don't hear anything, even if I hit it, because it's silver, because it's muted. But now, if I point my left pointer at the object to hold it, and I'm using my joystick now that I've gripped it to go in and out, bring it close to me. Now, if I point my right controller at it and stretch, now the object is going to make sound. It's this little bell object. Now, the nice thing is, and by the way, do you notice that the colors are flickering like when I touch it? That's because strongbear has programmed this object so that it's audio reactive. It's doing a fast Fourier transform of the sound that it's making, and it's colorizing the object based on the spectrum of the sound. But what I'm going to do just for fun is I'm going to take this object and I'm going to send it all the way over here to Emery, who's at my left. And now Emery can grab it and play it. Right? I'm going to bring up another object. I don't know what, but Emery, you've got that. So keep that there. Let's not bring up any new ones yet, but hang on, because you're going to be playing that one. That'll be your starting sound. Okay, now this object that I just opened up randomly is called sand. Do you hear that rumble? Now listen to this. I'm going to grab the object with my right hand. How did I grab it? With the grip. And I'm going to kind of have it pan around as I trigger it. Trigger it. It's on the left. It's on the right. So it's this kind of panning drone or rumble. Well, why don't I give that object over here to strongbear? Strongbear, do you have teal? I mean sand. That's what I meant. Hit sand. You've made it louder. And now he's playing sand. And Emery, can you just still play teal or whatever? Beautiful. So I'm going to add another object. But everyone, you know what might be nice? I like this world. And let me look around. Those guys are kind of jamming a little bit. And it's nice. It's a castle. And I like that. But why don't I open my menu? My menu is the little hamburger menu indented on the left hand. I'm going to push it. And up comes the menu for CsoundMeta. And so what I can do with this is I can pick another world. So let's tell the world I'd like us to be Boston cobblestone streets. There's Emery still over to my left, and there's strongbear still over to my right. But now we're kind of looking around Boston in the 1860s, right? And this is kind of that world I had told you about. But let me pick one more, kind of one that I like especially. I'm going to pick sunset above the clouds. So aren't these beautiful? This is Blockade Labs AI. I just said I want to be in the clouds. I want some aurora. I want some mountains. I want some water. I want the sunset. And I also love seeing, you know, the Milky Way or some galactic thing overhead. And so I'm now seeing that. Now I see one of our objects is going crazy. What is the reason for that, strongbear? Can you get control of that object, which seems to be bouncing all over? Sand, can you stop it, do you think? I got it here. I brought it back to you. So a little bit of what can happen in the metaverse when you're playing is our objects can kind of collide with each other and start to go flying and fly around. Now, how did I stop that? Well, what I did was I pointed my laser pointer at it, almost like a game of catch, and I clicked on the grip, and I said, wait a minute, in my head. I didn't say it out loud. And I pulled it back to me and said, give me control again. I'll hand it back over here to strongbear to continue playing, right? Okay, now, I also have controls here, which are kind of nice. I could quiet everyone down. So it's really nice. Let me do that. Let me make the whole mix softer. Do you notice I've just faded everyone out? So they can jam. What I was doing was I pushed in the Y button and I used my joystick as the host, as the conductor, to make it louder by going to the right. I'm making them louder now. And now I'm making it softer so that I can talk to you a little more about what I'm trying to show you. Now let me show you one other thing before we start doing some extra jamming. I'll ask my jammers to chill out again for a second. Looks like my mallet got awfully big on the right-hand side, so let me shrink that back down. Good. Now, notice in front of my hands here, or connected to them, I have these cheat sheets. So when I point at an object, if I can't remember what the controls are, if I want to trigger it or play it or catch it or edit it or whatever, well, I could look up on my cheat sheets, hey, and say, oh, if I want to create an orb, I need to press X and Y. So my left hand, if I press X and Y, oh, I created an orb. It's called red. Let's see what red sounds like. It's supposed to be swirling. This red's not making much sound. I'm going to delete it. How do I delete an orb? I point at it with my laser and I push in on the right joystick. Let's bring another orb up. Ooh, it says noisy wind. Is it? Sounds like it is. Good. Okay. So I've got noisy wind. I might put that over there by strongbear again. So now, I could have told my worlds, by the way, to strongbear built this in. It's so beautiful. I could say change the world every 60 seconds. And so now, while we're jamming and playing, all these different beautiful Blockade Lab worlds will come in and play. Now, my menu is open. How come? What did I press? I pressed that hamburger menu on the left hand to bring the menu up. Good. Now, in the menu, I also have an option in setup to say, hey, show me the shortcuts. I just turned them off. Those blue cheat sheets are gone because I know what I'm doing. I often leave them on when I'm rehearsing, and especially if I haven't played in a couple of days, I always forget, oh yeah, that's what I need to do to make the volume softer or louder. So my shortcut keys are on. Now, I want to show you one more thing about our instruments. I showed you that you could choose from any number of worlds. I point at the menu and I scroll up and down like you would do with any mouse or pointer. I say back if I want to get out of here. I could pick from my instrument library. Let's pick an instrument here. Oh, look. When I picked this instrument, up also came a menu. And also these little orbs over the instrument. The instrument's not making a sound. It's called rust. What's rust sound like? Well, I might, again, point my left pointer at the object to hold it. I might put my right pointer on it and stretch it out. And then I might strike it. There's rust. Kind of a sizzling sound, right? Now, if I go in my list of instruments, there's rust. I could select rust, and I could see that rust has a lot of presets that I've created. So let's pick rust that's a kind of mid-growl version of rust. That might have been very much the one we had. Let's see mid-tone noise. There it is, kind of soft. I'm going to make everybody...
Did you turn the mix up?
I'm turning the mix up now. I'm going to get rid of your noise, your noisy wind. So here's mid-tone noise of rust. Check it out. Wow. Something else happened too. Do you notice that rust is now broken and a fractal version of it? You can see through it. It's quite beautiful, right? Well, it's like a jewel now. Well, when the object, the orb, is in this mode, it's known as a wanderer. I like the sound. Wow. Now, what could I do with this sound? Well, I could close this because I like it. I could edit it. Up here, sound settings, bring up a dialog box, and that's what I was talking to Emery about at the beginning. And I could say, hey, I want this every time I hit it to play the same note. But wait, I could instead say every time I hit it, I want a different random note. Oh, I like that, right? I could say, wait a minute, I'd like that random note to be changed by, and I could set a gestural control here, how I move up and down my left hand. So I can connect my hands to the object with a patch cord. Now, you see I have on the inside, I'm calling a grip. And on the outside of my controller, I have a trigger. So if I point my grip and trigger at the object, notice what I just connected? Yellow patch cords. And so I can now use the patch cord settings on the right here to do things to the object. So, hey, button A triggers the object. Button A, watch. I'm not even pointing at the object, but I'm bouncing on my A button, and I'm playing do-do-do-do. But wait. Now it's playing low windy notes. Now it's playing high windy notes. Right? There's an object again flying all over the place. I'd like to stop that. Let's see if I can. Okay, I've got my object, but strongbear's is going crazy. Come here. No. There it is. I got it. I caught it. Strongbear, you're trouble. Now, so but you see what I'm doing? That as I move my hand, it's changing the random note number. And wait, maybe I really also want to have it so that it changes the MIDI note number too. So that would change the frequency range. So now, really high sizzly notes or really low notes. Look. And you see what I'm doing with my hands, right? I've made the sound a little better or a little more dramatic. What have I done? I've chosen sound settings. I've mapped my controllers. I'm allowing the controller to be a wanderer. Let's close it. Because even as a wanderer, I can tell this thing. By the way, it just chose a black world. I might want to use that for other things, but let's choose our drone reef world. So my thing is now a wanderer. All these little orbs on top let me do different sound settings, connect to effects, all kinds of things. I'll show you that later, but I'm kind of loving this sound. So I think it might be fun for Emery, Strongbear, and I to just jam a little bit, and we'll even add a few more sounds each of us to make the jam a little more interesting. We'll add some drum loops and things, and I'll turn these controls off. I point at the object, and I hold the Y button, and now the shortcut to the meta control menus is gone. So this object is just here waiting for me to trigger it. And since it's a wanderer, I can just throw it around my room and let it fly around and still play it. Right? So now, maybe since I taught you that, I have a feeling Emery might want to add some more physical controls to one of his objects. And that's cool. Let's do it. It might be nice for me to bring up some kind of backing track, don't you think? Well, when I go into instruments, if I choose classics, well, I think we have 200 Csound compositions that have been composed over the last 40 years. They're all running in the meta, Csound meta. And so here's one. Let's see what this randomly picked up. Oh, well, this isn't a composition, but it's a great instrument by Istvan Varga. And it's just one of Istvan's kick drums. He made a whole library of kind of kicks. So nice to have a little kick going. So let's put a kick in there, and I'll close it, and I'll just let it fly all over the place. So there it goes. Now, ooh, someone brought up a nice kind of prepared piano. I'll fire off more of my wind. It's a wanderer. And I'll bring up another sound from the library. Let's say I bring up another classic. This one is, well, I'm going to choose from the menu. So why don't I choose, I'm going to try to make that a little softer. There you go. I can control the mix, as you see. So let me choose, you know, the drones that are kind of cool. Dave Seidel has composed some really nice piece. Why don't I choose an ocean of air? So here's Dave Seidel's Ocean of Air. It's down here. I'm going to make it come right back to me by pointing at it and using the grip to say, get over here. Now I'm going to point at it. I'm holding it, stretch it so you can hear it, and start it. And it's now going to play Dave Seidel's piece for us, which is this beautiful ambient piece. Hear it? So now we've got a kick drum. We've got this ambience. We've got some other gorgeous kind of sounds coming in. And I might close the classics, and I might just bring in a couple of other instruments that I might like. So this is Teal Low Theme. Oh, it needs a little volume. I'm still not loving it. I'm going to change it. Guess what? If I point at an object and point at A and B, it changes another random object. Maybe I don't like it. So this is now picking Mincer. And it's these monks chanting. I like that. We'll leave them in there. I'll pick a bell tree instead. There it is. Look where we are now. We're on some Antarctic colony. This is not Greenland. Inside joke. Now, let's make Dave's sublimation a little softer. All right. Very dreamy world we're creating right now. I'm going to pick another orb. Oh, someone picked something groovy. This is a piece called Electric Bubbles by my former student, Jake Joaquin, who's an incredible composer and visual artist. He's now based in San Francisco area. And by the way, when you're hearing these tracks and these sounds that we're making in the piece, what you need to know is that all of these sounds are being rendered in real time. I'll make everything a little softer so I can talk to you. Everything that you're hearing is being rendered in real time by Csound, by like another instance of Csound, right? And so that's kind of exciting. We're not playing tracks like on Spotify. I'm not playing some music track. I'm actually, playing, rendering a classic Csound piece, right? And so, that's a kind of real bonus in terms of, what we're hearing and what we're doing in this world. We're playing with sound, we're adding them, we're manipulating them. As we swish through them, it's changing their character, right? As I morph through this, it's changing the character, right? This is a pretty interesting world created by Blockade Labs. A little carve out temple down in some canyon. Look at the shadow on the wall. And I could turn anything into a wanderer and just send it flying. Oh, now we're at another kind of temple, but this one's kind of in a jungle somewhere. We're on the exotic temple tour, I think. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go to pass through. I'm going to tell it to stop changing. I'm looking at all of you now, or back at my desk, and I'm pretty much going to stop. So I'm going to press my joystick in on the left hand, and I'm going to select A and B on the right hand, and that's going to fade everyone out. We really are trying to build a performance system here, right? And so I'm going to stop sharing now. And I love these Quest 3s, especially 3S is quite great because the pass-through is fantastic. I can program my computer at the same time. I can read my iPhone, my watch. And so even now, I still have the headset on, but I'm going to stop sharing and just go back with you all. And, we're able to, just work while we're working in the Csound metaverse on sound and on compositions. Now, later today, we might show you a minute of trying to make a composition because there are other features that strongbear has built into the system that let you save a movement, save presets around each orb, and then save the worlds and the movements on timelines so that you can compose. And so we've written some really wonderful pieces, some collaborations. We've premiered one of them in Vienna, Austria, back in October, November at the International Csound Conference. And I had 5 or 6 of my students on stage with me there playing on a huge stage, projected on huge screens, coming out of 24, 48 loudspeakers in a beautiful cube. Strongbear was joining us from the United States on stage playing as well. In our rehearsals, all of that, Strongbear's right there fixing things, jamming with us, teaching my students, no, you need to do that, is really something. So we're able to play when I rehearse with the students who are in my ensemble in Vienna. One student was rehearsing from Santa Barbara. One student was rehearsing from Hong Kong. Strongbear was rehearsing with us from Ohio, and I was here in Boston, and another of my students was in Boston, and we're all kind of practicing down here in Boulanger Labs, or as you saw, in some icy planet from out of a future Star Wars episode, or on a Martian base, or somewhere in Boston at the turn of the century. So it really is exciting, all the possibilities. I hope that what we just showed you, or what I was explaining while we were playing, and how I was able to hand objects to them, or grab objects from them, or stop objects from flying, shows you the range of kind of sharing, collaboration, and control that strongbear has built into this incredible program that we're wanting all of you to install. So I'm hoping that you'll get on our Discord channel, you'll follow some of those links that will help you download the alpha versions, or alpha or beta versions, beta version pretty much, and start using it, start joining us in jam sessions, or start your own with friends and family, and give us advice and feedback. I need this to do this, or this should do this, or I'm surprised that, I can't, there's something wrong. And so we're wanting advice from musicians, from non-musicians, from children, from senior citizens, because everyone comes into this experience with their own experience, their own expectations. You can imagine at Berklee, I did a session there for all the faculty we call them BTOT, Berklee Teachers on Teaching. And you'll see some of the presets that I'm sharing with all of you in this release are my BTOT movements. So I set up different jams for my colleagues. And of course, I made them with drum grooves and drum loops. And, you know, one of their first things was, how do I sync the loops? How do I sync all the timing of my LFOs? Because, you know, most of the production here is on a grid. And most of the production for dance music of my students is, how do I synchronize my bass and synchronize my LFOs? And so they're all into that. They're all into side chaining and syncing and you know, common time and a 4 on the floor kick, and everything starts on a grid. And I hope that sound art and music will get off the grid over time, and that we'll start really playing with multiple timelines and multiple time frames. And in fact, most of the great music that you love, the great performance you love, is when I'm watching Miles Davis on YouTube talking about playing behind the beat, playing off the beat, and encouraging people to write it on the beat for me, Miles was saying, and I'll play it where it belongs. I'll lay back and play off the beat. And certainly all of our great jazz masters at the Berklee College of Music, it started as a jazz school, right? They're teaching our students to feel and play and change the feel by the way they approach the beat or lay behind the beat. And many times, even with a classic sequencer, we would teach some humanization techniques. And that would kind of randomize where things fell once things were locked to a grid. So, but you can imagine that when my faculty are saying, how do I lock it? But strongbear now on our to-do list is, we got to have a button that says snap to grid, or, you know, synchronize all clocks, or, you know, just so that you know, if that's important to you, I want to make sure, we both want to make sure that CsoundMeta supports that. You know, so I'm not just making it for my music. I'm not just making it for sound artists. We're trying to make this, you know, for as many people as we can, with as many levels of musical training or bias or prejudice or freedom. So, you know, we're trying to really support the musical language of as many composers and sound artists and creators as we can, just so we can all play together from anywhere in the world is, I think, the goal. But I would love to hear from strongbear if I've mischaracterized or if I've left anything out. And it does seem like your new version is working.
Yeah, it's working. And today we didn't make a lot of objects. So yeah, cool.
So what were the main features, strongbear, that you added in this update? What can we tell previous users and me? Because that's the first time I saw the update. So what can we tell the experienced CsoundMeta user is new in this update?
Because we didn't create a lot of objects today, so we didn't see that. But like, if you create more objects, then they kind of overlap on each other. They doesn't fly into each other. That's the main change.
We can try that. We can try that in a minute. I know Emery would love to create lots of objects and see that they don't collide, because as a power user now, one of Emery's first things was, we have to stop these colliding objects. And so, in fact, Emery was in class. Emery helped me yesterday introduce this to a number of other students, many of which have never had a headset on. So Emery was jamming from his apartment into my classroom at Berklee, and it was really exciting. But then Emery showed up at class because he had a class with me yesterday. Emery's doing his thesis right now. And just so you all know about Emery, Emery's a phenomenal jazz trumpet player, an incredible commercial producer, but also a very experimental artist. artist. He was just accepted at a half dozen graduate schools. I think he's headed to Cal Arts, where he's going to work on robotics and new ways of playing. He designed for his thesis project all kinds of alternate controllers, like power gloves and glove controllers with accelerometers and proximity sensors. He designed generative algorithmic software systems that, I'll let him tell you a little about it in a minute. But my point is that, Emory came to class and said, we've got to talk to Bear, because, this bouncing off of everything, it can be a problem. And so I said to Emory, well, I've been telling him, but you write him. And so Emory said, well, I'll try to say it in a nice way. But I said, no, tell him hard. And I think Emory wrote a note like, Dear Bear, I really love the app, but and I'm wondering if there would be a way of slowing down, like they're changing the gravitational force. So he had such a positive way of saying, fix that.
Actually, it's a good way for you to do exercise, like catching orbs. Let's see how fast you can catch all the orbs.
Well, but it would be nice if we'll throw it up and we'll create a bunch and see about the overlap. But the thing is, Bear, yours was still flying all over, and I wonder why. Only from you.
Well, actually, it's flying on your. What you're seeing is flying, but on my side, things didn't fly.
It wasn't flying on yours?
I noticed that too. I noticed times where something would be like really dramatically going around for me, and I was like, they would have mentioned this if they were also seeing this. So I would just try to, and I'm curious if it has to do with like where each person's walls are or something like that. It's interesting if it's processing it in parallel on each machine, that there could be like minor discrepancies, but then where would those even come from? It's like an interesting concept, but it seems like overall, like it seems like it's fine, but just for the refinement, I don't know. It's interesting.
Yeah. So there's a syncing mechanism, but like sometime it out of sync, and like one might see things different from the other.
Well, and it is, I must say, to you, Emory and Bear, the right now, so that I can conveniently stay here talking to the audience in this screencast, I live stream. I've set up only a small little area that I'm playing in, but if we were to look at my studio, I actually have a big open floor here. And when we rehearse, I set up a giant area. When we were premiering the piece in Vienna, you should have seen the size of the stage. And so we actually used Wi-Fi amplifiers on stage to increase the signal strength to a hot spot that we were getting our audio, our Wi-Fi from, so that I could cover more space, and so my students could stand much further away from me. And so, there was a big wall, there was a big room, and we weren't bumping into each other too much. However, when I play in Berklee's small classrooms, or even when I created a small space here, I think, Emory, the walls are pretty close. And so you bounce off a wall pretty quickly, and things start ricocheting, off of these walls. And I think that could be contributing even now. Small space. There is a way, and Strongbear and I did this, which was so cool. I would love to repeat this story, but on Strongbear's last kind of day in Boston, before he was leaving Boston and going to Ohio, he said, let's do something with our families. Let's get together. And we were going to go wander around Boston. And then all of a sudden it turned into, why don't we just get together for a picnic at the beach? And we can play with CsoundMeta, with my children, with my daughters, his daughters, and me and my wife and his wife. And so, okay. So we drove out to some beach, and there was a giant park, and we told our quest to use no boundary, because we knew we weren't going to bump into anything, right? And we were in pass-through mode, which was so fun, because then instead of using a Blockade Labs virtual world, there were trees, there was water, there was a parking lot, there were picnic benches, there were people playing with their children, and Strongbear and I and his daughters are throwing orbs around and playing catch and throwing them up in trees and throwing them out into traffic, driving by at the end of the parking lot, and the orbs are flying. It was really beautiful fun and such a nice way to end. I love the idea that I could write music that my children would play, and I do really now play a lot of music with my son Philip, who's a phenomenal classical cellist, and that's such a dream. And I always love to share things like that. So if my students can play with their children making music, and so even now, Strongbear's daughters are the expert beta testers of this software, and so for all of us to play together with no boundary could work. And so it may very well be that what I should do is set up no boundary, select that, and then it might also cut down on the ricochet effect at Berklee. I'm not sure. So I'll see about that next time I'm bringing them in for students to play. What do you think, Bear? Is my thinking correct? Is my logic correct?
Yeah. So basically, the room that you set the boundary doesn't contribute to the size of the actual like CsoundMeta room. Because I have already set the room size always the same. So it doesn't matter whether you set it the boundary small or big. It doesn't matter. But like if we stay too close to each other, then our object like stay at the same place. Like the density of the objects at one location.
Yeah.
That makes it bounce around, but like that should be solved. It won't collide into it no more.
Okay. Well, we should try that. Unless there's some questions from people on the stream or questions in the Zoom that are worth answering right now, we should try making a lot of objects and see this new non-collision feature or the overlap feature that you've created. Do you want to try that?
Of course, yeah.
Okay. Are there any questions or thoughts from anyone on the stream or anything like that?
Not actually. Like, there's one person here is watching us from, I think from the beginning, really interested in what we're doing. Like Beans on Toast AI, and like he or she's also like a Unity.
Great. Well, as a Unity dev, you might be excited to know that Strongbear is planning, with me, I'm the Csound guy, right? And I'm making the instruments, I'm doing the composing, I'm teaching sound design and composition and designing effects and all of that. So this is kind of what I'm bringing into this project, and also the kind of teaching and sharing that we're doing now. But Strongbear is planning on running, we're going to try to do one of these every week or every couple of weeks where we get together and talk, where we play a little, where we show new features, where we answer some user questions, where we involve users in the performance. So we're going to, and even start to bring some guests, some of the key developers of Csound, some of the key composers of Csound.
Yeah.
But Strongbear is planning on every week or whatever, or maybe more, running live streams where you're coding, right? Strongbear, talk about that a little bit.
Right. So before this session, I've already did a short session to fix a couple of things. Yeah. So I want to do more beside the live stream Dr.B. So here's Beans on Toast AI. I have a question, like how do you keep the audio synchronized? So the way we keep the audio synchronized is like we're not actually sending the audio over the internet, but we're just sending this like kind of signal message, and all the audio are generated like on the device. And another question is like, do you have frame rate issues? Like we used to have that, but now I don't see that. So say that it's not an issue. So we used to have that when we have like a lot of objects that doing like heavy processing, like FFT, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in the Csound language, there are these fantastic streaming vocoder opcodes, and they allow for some amazing spectral effects and transformation. So I've built a small library of instruments that process your speaking voice and live audio input. We'll show that later. Maybe not even today. Maybe in our next session we'll focus on it. But the bottom line is, you know, you run 6 or 7 of those. Like I said, we're not playing samples here. We're computing on the headset in this little Android device. And so those tend to need a lot of CPU power for the real-time rendering of the stereo audio, spectral processing, time scaling, pitch shifting. It's amazing, the sound quality and the sound magic that comes from this, but those guys can beat us up. So I've redesigned many of those instruments to be more efficient, and in most cases, you can tell Csound, for instance, to limit the number of voices that can simultaneously use an opcode or play an instrument. So when I design those, I often build into the instrument what I use. The opcode is called max alloc, maximum allocation. So I basically say, hey, max alloc only 1 of these, or max alloc only 2 of these, so whatever, so that it can't. And we also have an opcode in Csound, instrument active. So I can say, hey, if 2 of these are active, that's it. Don't make a 3rd one. You want to randomly choose something else. Don't randomly choose a 3rd spectral time warping vocoder with wave shaping and ring modulation, which is a super effect. But, you know, only 2 of those at once. So, and you know how even many commercial programs deal with this is they freeze audio, they freeze tracks, they are always showing you CPU load. And so now you know, hey, I can't run 50 copies of Serum at the same time, or I need to check my effect chain in live with how many simultaneous reverbs or whatever that I'm running. And so, you know, all of the programs deal with the issue and in different ways. And the cool thing about Csound is we have opcodes that I can use to build the custom instruments that are intelligent or interpreting the system load and managing it in a performance or in a jam. And that's a lot of what we do. It's really a sharing, right? It's Bear fixing the code in the smartest ways he can, and it's me designing the instruments in the smartest way I can. And that's kind of what's gone into building these libraries now that are part of our beta release.
And it is even more fun if we play like in the same room, in the same like physical environment. I actually have a video here where we're playing. Should we play that just to show people like the idea of like co-location? And
sure.
Yeah,
that would be nice. That would be nice. And we'll still test out your overlapping orbs update late in a minute or later. But yeah, please show them us playing together.
Here we go. So yep. On the so here like 1, 2, 3, 4 of us playing in the same room. This is it B54?
B54. It's a classroom in Berklee, one of our kind of surround sound media rooms. I teach Csound in here and Max in here and things like that. So students sit around with their laptops at these conference tables. We have multiple screens. We also get those tables out of there when we're doing big jam sessions. So it's one of our nicer kind of multifunction rooms in the department called B54. And so I guess there are 4 of us playing right now. That's maybe Bethany on the left, and and Xiaomeng, Susan on the right, and me. And I think you're the one recording, so we're seeing the perspective from Strongbear as we're jamming in the same room.
Actually, here's Claire, and so Claire's teaching at Berklee. On the right is like Michelle Darling.
Oh, that's in this group. I see. Okay.
Yeah, so chair of EPD, Electronic Production and Design Department at Berklee.
This is her first time playing in my metaverse.
Right. And
so you see me explaining to her over there. No, hit this. Try that.
Yeah, and the voice much clearer than Zoom.
And everything is recorded from my headset. So this is my view. Okay, so Beans on Toast AI also have question about like what do you use to talk with each other, different places.
Great. We often, I'll let Bear take most of this, but we often start in a Zoom chat like we are now. Hi everyone, hi Bear, how's it going, whatever. But take it away, Bear, because it's really fun when we start just talking to each other inside the headset. So take it from there.
Yeah, so in the quest, we could call each other, like we could make friend and then call each other. Then we could play and talk at the same time.
If you have two...
and in the future, we will implement a new feature where people could call each other right inside the app, like instead of using that feature of Quest. So you don't have to like make friend with people before you can call.
You use these two, you hit them.
And the important thing I would say, well, I can't wait for that new feature, next release or coming release. But the thing is, the sound quality when we're talking to each other in the headsets from across the globe is better than Zoom. And Zoom, as many of you know, is pretty darn good. And it's like clearer. I mean, I will tell you that Meta did quite a job with the mic and noise cancellation and all that, and live mic in these headsets. And we'll show you more of the live mic stuff maybe in our next session, and we'll really focus on it because we have a lot of nice features with live mic and even remote mics. So we're going to show you some of the tricks we've learned and developed. But the clarity of us having a conversation within the Quest is really incredible. And so, yeah, it's very intimate. We're just, hey, Bear, try this. Or, you know, you're not yelling from across the room. I'm not out in the middle of my studio jamming, yelling back to my speakers or whatever. You don't need speakers on. You're right there in a quiet space talking to each other about how to rehearse, or hey, why don't you add some more of that, or make that sound louder and play it more aggressively, you know? So it's pretty great.
Yeah, exactly. Cool. I mean, the call sound, the quality in the Quest really crispy, really clear. Yeah, so the sound that we're making won't matter overlap with the...
There's no crackle, no interference, no all of a sudden. I don't know how they prioritize the threads to, but it's been working beautifully. Even with us throwing up hundreds of objects and we're still talking to each other like, stop it. Wait, stop making all those things. Because sometimes Bear likes to tease me, I must say. He's joining me from Ohio. I've got all these Berklee faculty in front of me. We're all jamming. I'm projecting on a big screen. We've just finished a performance. They're happy. And then I'm talking, like you can see, I never stop. And so I'm talking to them and telling them how excited I am about this. And Bear just starts creating like 100 objects around me that are like, I guess it's his way of telling me to maybe take a question. But he has often created a lot of objects in our world where we're still just having a beautiful conversation. So it's really remarkable.
Yeah. So another question from Vince on Toast AI. Do you ever get like sound white out when too many sounds are playing? I know you said you throttle too many lead in.
I mean, what's your experience with this? Sometimes I've noticed, no, I'll tell you, want to know what happens? Of course, I've designed a bad instrument. So if I design an instrument that blows up Csound, I've got some resonant Moog filter that I've got on some drone and fat saw, and you can control the cutoff and frequency and resonance, and things. Sometimes that blows up Csound. And so I found that kills the sound almost, like, oh, we've just crashed Csound. But I don't think we've had any trouble because we've played too many orbs or anything like that. I think it's really, when we've played one of my bad instruments that I hadn't debugged or designed well enough. And so what that would mean in Csound would be that I would scale the range of the resonance parameter of that Moog ladder filter opcode. So I could say, oh, really, I don't want the thing to ever get narrower than 10 hertz or, whatever. So I just, that's the wonderful thing about Csound is, if you were a fan of the old Spinal Tap movie, the amp goes to 11. And so the bottom line is Csound, you set the range of all the parameters in any opcode. It's not like, oh, this only goes from one. And so finding really great ranges and usable ranges is part of the challenge of you as a sound designer. And the other thing you need to know is that every orb in CsoundMeta is not, oh, I made a patch on this synth. I made a patch on Serum. I made a patch on my, Roland, whatever, module, or my Behringer clone of the Moog Model D. Check out the patch. No. Every orb is a complete synthesizer, a unique model of a synthesis instrument. It can have effects and reverbs and filters. And so each of those things that I was showing you all in the menu, when I said, let's pick Rust, and then we saw Rust had a bunch of presets, right? It's because Rust is a certain Csound software synthesizer that I designed back in 1979, that one. Csound is future-proof. So I designed that instrument in summer of 1979. We're playing it now. We're discovering even more of what it does. We're saving different variants of that synthesizer. It's really remarkable, the worlds that we're making available to everyone. It's like it's a whole store of modules or synthesizers, and not merely, oh, there's that sound. As you saw with me changing a little bit of just one of the instruments. So I guess I would take the blame to the user asking a question there. If things blow up, it's probably because of me.
Yeah, so typically, like, if it blow up, then typically is like one instrument in there is doing that. So redesign that instrument will solve the problem. And I mean, like, Csound is super lightweight because it was running on like computer back in the 70s, and like from 70 until now, like our computer gets so much more like stronger. So I mean, like it could, the computer now should handle those instruments like no problem at all.
Right. We're super surprised at how much of Csound works in Ableton Live. I built libraries for Ableton Live, plugin libraries. We're building all kinds of plugins using Cabbage, Rory Walsh's great Cabbage, and those plugins run as audio units. They run as standalone synths. They run directly. You just drop them into our CsoundMeta, and all the assigned controllers and sliders get then mapped in our Csound metaverse. So, it's really remarkable how, in some ways, we're preserving or enabling the whole history of computer music to be explored and remixed and resynthesized and reused, repurposed, recontextualized in CsoundMeta. And so that's kind of nice. And I have a call out to all of my colleagues in the Csound community, all the developers and composers. And I'm saying, hey, send me your pieces. We want to run them in our classics section. And so I've gotten hundreds of pieces. Right now, I think we probably have 150 or so in there, but I've tested and delivered and cleaned and updated I think 356 compositions that Bear's about to just throw into the collection. So a little bit of organization is what we're doing now. Like, okay, let's put those in the drone category. Let's put those in the ambient category. Let's put those in the true classics category. A piece by John Chowning or a piece by Karl-Heinz Stockhausen realized in Csound. Well, let's call that a classic, really. And so we're trying to kind of, and my students have been writing Csound pieces I've been teaching at Berklee for almost 40 years now. And so I've been sneaking Csound into the classes since the very first day I started there. And so we have Csound classes and Csound experts that have gone through our program. And so there are a lot of great Csound pieces by my students. And so there's a whole collection of Berklee students' compositions too, which is kind of fun and a tribute to them and their great talent and great work. So it wasn't always that easy to use Csound back in the day and to make a piece. And some of these pieces are quite legendary in the community because they're just so inspiring what the students accomplished. And you're seeing some of that inspiration now as I again salute my collaborator and incredible student Strongbear, because you're seeing what a Berklee student does with technology under their belt, either sonically, production-wise, creatively, compositionally, or now, and development side of things. We have a lot more courses in software development and AI and game development and game audio, and all these are really changing, I think, the industry. So Berklee EPD graduates are pretty amazing. They're pretty amazing.
Yeah.
And so
another question, like MIDI connect, I think Binon Toast is asking about whether CsoundMeta are supporting MIDI. I think. So basically, the Quest doesn't support like MIDI device, and I mean, like how could you connect it to the devices? Like you could maybe in the future it through this one USB-C it can connect, but I mean it's not like really practical. But there's a way.
I will interrupt for a second, Strongbear, to say, of course, Csound supports MIDI. And we have MIDI instruments, but I've actually unMIDI'd them so we could play them with our hands in CsoundMeta. And I think Bear is right to say, maybe Meta will add wireless MIDI support for gestural and OSC controllers and other things. Who knows? I hope so. I hope that the Quest 4 supports wireless MIDI or something into the Quest. And we are using some wireless devices to actually add multiple microphones into our Quest. And we'll show you that in another session. But yeah, I don't know of any MIDI interface for a Quest yet, or a MIDI connection, but maybe there's some app that you would tell us about, you users. Again, remember, join our Discord channel. So if you know this and you've used it, or maybe if you're even developing something, please share it with us. We'll add it.
Yeah.
Right, Bear, would you add MIDI if someone had a library that, of course I think you would.
So in CsoundMeta now we don't support MIDI, but like in the other app that I'm doing, like Effortless, it support MIDI wirelessly. So basically, you could connect it to like Ableton Live and wirelessly control MIDI's to your computer. So So you need to have like a computer. Then the Quest connect to the computer, and then the MIDI instrument will be connected to the computer. Yeah. So I think that's the same way piano VR is doing. So because like Vince on Toast here has mentioned about piano VR, and I do know about piano VR. So basically, they do have an app to install on the computer. So it is the same method. So you need a computer, and then the Quest connect to the computer. Then the computer control the MIDI.
Good. Well, maybe we'll add that to this in the future too, Bear, from your other app at some point. But I do like, I do love that your other app is still growing and developing its own identity too. And so I don't think we need to steal everything from there.
Yeah. Oh, I think it's 2:30. Should we try the like new feature?
We wanted to end today's session a little early because of appointments, and so we're going to end today's stream at like 2:45. But what we want to do is just try making a lot of objects and seeing what happens. So I'm still here, and you're wanting me to say I'm going to share, and you're wanting me to basically set my sharing to just focus on the cast. So there we go.
Yeah.
And I want to make sure I have audio, which I do. So hello, everyone. I'm now sharing. And we're back. The environment is still running. I've said resume. I'm passing through. You see my mallet controllers are still here. I'll make my left one a little bigger. I'm making it bigger by holding down the A button and using the joystick to enlarge it or shrink it. So I've got my objects here. Let me just see if it's still making sound. Here's taupe. I've made it bigger. I'm playing it. I'm panning it. And I'm wondering if you can hear it.
I'm joining you. Let me also cast my screen. So Emery could join you and start
Emery, are you here?
testing.
I'll bring up another. Someone has joined. I'll go to a virtual world like traversing a haunting post. Here we are. I love these Blockade Lab Worlds. I'll bring up another sound. And so what you're saying is they go through each other. I see that. Look at that.
Yeah.
I'm going through Mincer. You know what's nice about this? You can play two at the same time, Bear.
Ah, nice. Yeah, right.
A new feature. But
Right.
I'm going to make more. Hold on. I'm going to make three at the same time.
Yeah, that's a nice idea. Like a mixers in a way.
I'm mixing. Oh boy, that's a nice, interesting byproduct.
Yeah, I didn't think about that.
Wow, beautiful. You're gonna have to. Oh, someone's standing on top of me almost.
I just joined you.
I'm just making a whole bunch of these, stacking them all up. Oh, this is too fun. Look at that. Crazy.
Let's see.
Love it. Well, you're now going to have an instruction that grabs all or selects all, so you can grab them all and hook them all to a patch cord or something. Patch all.
Yep.
Wow, that's great. Well, I like this update. Wow. 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 Crazy. I'm going to turn them all into wanderers now and just fly them away. Wow. This is all behaving a lot better than when we were jamming before, Strongbear. I'm not sure, but you know, they're all under a lot better control. Wow. I love it. Wow. Wow. It's crazy. This is nice. Wow. Wow. I'm loving it. Wow, look at that. I love when they change into these long cylindrical shapes.
Yeah, like
We've got to make that a feature.
it will happen like randomly in a couple of seconds.
Yeah. I'll throw a little of Frank Pablo's piece on board for us. I'll go to wispy clouds at noontime, so we're just floating over, up in the sky, over a lake. Loving it. Okay, so somebody started flying.
And so the classic still can collide with others, so I'm using the classics to move things around.
I just don't understand why Emery can't close his instrument selection dialog. I have to close them for him. So Emery, I point at it with the laser and I use the pistol trigger on the right hand to turn
I was trying it on my own a second ago and it was working completely like normally, like when I was on my own, but then when I've been joining as like a client, it hasn't been letting me close.
I get it. Okay.
Oh, like Emery, if like sometimes you feel things doesn't work as you wish, maybe you could like go to the menu multiplayer and then stop client and then join again.
And join. Yeah, I'll try that next time or something. It's just been kind of weird because it's happened like I feel like a couple of times consistently.
Because sometimes the host has the like the most powerful most power, so sometimes the host like take over your control, and like if the network is not strong enough, maybe like you couldn't get back the control. So
yeah, it sounds like that kind of.
Hello. Hello? 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 Nice. Hello? Hello? Hello, that's Shenzhen's bass loop. Hello? Hello? Wow, pretty nice, huh? Shenzhen's music, always an inspiration. Thank you. I'm going to quit the jam right now and, stop sharing and go back to just us saying goodbye for today. Wow. That was fun. What do you think?
Yeah.
That got pretty good. Emery, you
A lot of fun.
I'm having a lot of fun with it. There's just certain times where something won't work how I feel like it could, but like that has not. It's already so like far that it doesn't even matter. Like, like it's so fun.
Well, we really appreciate you and your contribution and your exploration and your sharing. And I'm thrilled you're here. I'm thrilled that everyone has joined us, on the channel, and it's really been wonderful to kind of have you here and have everyone be here and join us. So let's see. There we go. So, Bear, do you have any kind of closing thoughts or comments for today? I think it would be nice if we end in the next couple of minutes.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks everyone for joining. Please join our Discord channel. You can find it in the chat, or you could find it in the description of the live stream. And we hope to see you there and see you in the next live stream.
I think we were talking about live streaming maybe on Tuesday. So we will be announcing it in the next day or two, sending out emails, posting it in Discord. And so make sure you join so you know. And already, I want to thank you on the live stream for your questions today and inspirations. And I hope that some of what we answered. The last point I want to make is that strongbear is planning on streaming, fixing, improving, building the software. And so those of you who are wanting to learn more about Unity and integrating Csound in Unity, Well, Csound Unity is available through Laurie Walsh's Cabbage Forum. There are a few little examples there. Bear will tell you more in his sessions on how to get going with that and just install it and start playing with it. But if you really want, this expert advice and really to watch this expert programming, fixing, debugging, you're going to want to make sure every week or whatever to get on that Discord channel and tune into Bear's live streams where he's actually coding and answering your questions about code. And ultimately, I'll be doing some answering your questions about Csound. But I think figuring out the Unity Csound connection is really the extra beautiful gift that Bear is bringing to the community and to the world. And I'm very grateful that he's helping spread this possibility. And I can't wait to see what some of you do with CsoundMeta, making music with it, but also making derivative products inspired by it or based on it too. That's going to be absolutely wonderful. So I want to thank everyone for coming today. And Bear, I'm going to let you sign us off with any kind of closing words, but thank you everyone for coming.
Yeah, thank you. I love the questions today. See you in the next session. Love to hear more questions.
And remember, you can ask the questions on our channel, and Bear is going to be right on top of answering them there too. So you don't have to wait for the next live stream to get some of your questions answered. And I know some of you are not right now watching, but you're going to watch the video recordings of these, when your time permits. And so know that we're very anxious for you to see what we're doing and then ask for our help and ask for our advice. Take care, everyone.
Goodbye. See you later.
Bye. Thanks, Emery.
No problem. Thanks. See ya.
See you. I'll stay here while you do. And wow, that was fun.
A lot of fun.
And look at that.